Poland should have just gave up Danzig, Gdansk. All right, another suggestion that was made like a month ago.
In the Polish campaign, the German forces
I'm finally doing it.
were stronger, but they did not have an overwhelming numerical
Now, I know this is a World War II reaction and this might seem very mainstream, but believe me, I do have a bit to say about the invasion of Poland.
superiority over the Poles. So why did it take the Germans only more than a month to completely defeat Poland? The Germans had two key advantages. Their army was larger and had better equipment than Polish forces, and also the Germans possessed tanks, which would give them greater punch and much faster movement.
It's funny because the Polish tanks were, I know the Polish had, I think they only had like 35 variants of the, that tank. I forgot what it was called, but it was like vastly superior than any German tank. I think like early war, like every single Allied power that had tanks that were superior to the German tanks. Like German tanks at the start of the war were really bad, really and truly.
Poland used two strategies to counter the German advantages. The Poles had made an alliance with Britain and France so that they could put pressure on Germany from the west. In this way, Germany would have to keep a large part of their forces there and could not deploy a strong force against Poland.
Now, you know something about this plan? This plan was actually smart. It's just that the French just did not do anything. Like when you really actually think about it, World War II should not have gone the way it should have, really and truly.
In order to counter Germany's superior offensive capabilities, such as tanks, Poland had adopted another strategy. It had created two defensive lines. The main line was behind the Vistula River and its tributaries, and they could retreat to a shorter line on the Romanian bridgehead if things went badly. But
Abandoning most of the country. That's literally like 90% of the country. Oh my gosh. No way you're gonna survive in that peace zone there. And that's not even like Polish territory. That's literally Ruthenian territory, I think, right? Is that Ruthenian? When I say Ruthenian, I mean like Ukrainian. Because back then, Ukrainians call themselves Ruthenian. Well, at this point, they call themselves Ukrainian because World War I, that whole like Ukrainian identity, alleged, I'm just gonna say alleged BS was created. So allegedly, okay, so don't go and say that I am spreading nonsense. Allegedly, all right. So
there was a problem. Poland could not start the war with all of its forces deployed behind its defenses. Otherwise, there was a chance that Germany could capture part of the Polish territory without fighting, and Britain and France would not declare war on Germany. So Poland deployed its forces forward to the border to receive the German attack and make Britain and France declare war on Germany.
Bro, let me tell you something, bro. Germany literally offered Poland an alliance of sorts. Poland should have just gave up Danzig, Gdansk. Like, Poland really and truly should have just give it up. They really should have. Like, that was their best bet. I feel like Poland and Germany could have been great allies, especially against the Soviet Union, because both of them really hated the Soviet Union. You know, it's kind of weird when you think about it, and you're like, how didn't they not become allies? You know, obviously it's because, you know, the territorial disputes and whatnot. But, I mean, the demands that Germany had wasn't really, like, unreasonable, frankly speaking. I mean, I get it, right? You know, that was Poland's only access to the sea. But, like, was it really necessary? Like, was it that vital to Poland? Like, come on now. Like, I personally believe that Poland should just give it up and probably get compensated for more eastward gains had Germany and Poland gotten into an alliance, frankly speaking. Because Germany didn't really want to invade Poland at first. Of sorts, you could debate that. That is very arguable, but I did see some information that states that Germany wanted a diplomatic solution to the Polish issue per se. And again, this goes back to the whole Treaty of Versailles, issue. So, in fact, even the Germans themselves, when Germany declared war on Poland, most Germans thought that it was a necessary thing to do. So,
After that, they would have to make a difficult retreat under German pressure to their main defenses. On September the 1st, 1939, the Germans launched the attack along the whole front. The Poles had established an intermediary defensive line where they planned to halt the initial German advance. In the north, the Germans encircled some of the Polish units and re-established land connection with East Prussia. In the south, the Germans reached the southernmost part of the Polish defensive line. They then launched several tank attacks against it. In the south and center, the Poles were able to contain the Germans, but in the north, the Polish lines were broken. The Poles had their reserves ready to cover the northern direction. They also pulled back their forces in the south. Soon, the retreating forces ran into trouble as they were pursued by fast-moving German tanks.
That's the thing about those German panzers. They're garbage in combat, but my goodness, were they freaking fast, dude. Like, too fast.
The north, the Polish reserves re-established the front line and for some days could continue the withdrawal. But then the German tanks broke through once again. This time the Poles did not have any reserves to send against them. By that time, Poland might have benefited from a French attack on the Western Front, but the Allies had not expected the events to take place so quickly and did not give effective assistance to Poland.
You know what's funny? I forgot what high command, a part of the OKH or German general said this, but he literally said that had the French attacked, they could have ended this whole war in like 2 weeks because the German border was just so lightly defended, bro. Blows my mind, bro. It really blows my mind. I really wonder what the French high command was really and truly thinking. Honestly, like, what the heck?
Polish forces decided to launch a desperate counterattack against the German forward units to allow their forces to escape. However, most of the Polish units were too disorganized to counterattack, and in the south their forces were encircled.
And this is thanks to the Allies and their nonsense. Poland wasn't even fighting at full strength. Crazy. Poland wasn't even fighting at full strength. The Allies literally told Poland, hey, could you not mobilize early yet? So by the time Germany invaded, Poland wasn't even ready when you really and truly, right? Otherwise, I believe that Poland would have given a much more stubborn fight. I still believe they probably would have been defeated because, Germans had air supremacy. You have air supremacy in this time, you win. There's no ballistic missiles and all that. So, which is interesting because I always hear people say, oh, when you have air supremacy, you win the war. But in 2024, Ukraine has shown that all you really need is just ballistic missiles and your air is useless. So at the end of the day, infantry is the key to the battle and tanks.
The Polish counterattack in the north allowed some of the Polish forces to withdraw to the Warsaw area, but soon the Germans turned their attention towards the counterattacking force and cut it off. The Germans succeeded in their plan to cut off most of the Polish forces before they could reach their main defenses. By that time, they had already breached the Polish defenses from the north. 10 days earlier, the Germans had reached the Polish main defensive line from the north. The Poles misjudged the situation and their troops were out of position, which allowed the Germans to find a weak spot in the Polish defenses and cross the river. The Poles attempted to make a stand behind another river line, but the Germans used momentum to cross it before the Poles had readied their defenses. The main Polish defensive line was now breached from the north. The Polish forces were now ordered to retreat to their final defensive line at the Romanian bridgehead. Part of them ignored the order and remained to defend Warsaw. During that time, the
Oh, come on. Bad idea. Best bet would have been to withdraw to that little piece of what was left of Poland at this point, which is now, is that piece a part of Ukraine or Romania? No, I think that piece is a part of no, I think that's a part of Ukraine now. Yeah, 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 it is. Yeah.
Polish units in the south had been falling back. The Poles were not able to hold a solid front, and the faster moving German units bypassed them and crossed the main Polish defensive line with little opposition. They now moved to capture the center of the Polish resistance at Lvov. The Germans were unable to take Lvov, but they cut off the Polish units that attempted to fall back to the town. The Germans...
Wow, you're telling me that the Germans broke through this quickly and they still can't really... And that's the thing, because the Germans kind of just got lucky, really and truly. And not just that, again, Poland wasn't even like fighting full strength. But it really goes to show you how, like, when the Germans did attack, like actual cities that were actually, like, prepared to defend, you know, they couldn't just, like, take it that quickly. The only thing that the Germans had was well, air supremacy and the fact that they had their panzers, which could have, well, it did, not even could have, it did outmaneuver the Polish so freaking quickly that their front lines completely broke. And not only that, but the Allies just, like, did nothing. Like, just stood there and watched. It's ridiculous how the Allies just basically just let Poland die.
Germans were now in position to prevent the rest of the Polish army from reaching the Romanian bridgehead. The next Polish forces approached from the west. The Germans moved in from several directions and cut the Poles off from all sides. After the Poles could not break through the German defenses, they surrendered. The Germans were not in a good position to easily destroy the Polish forces coming from the north. But by that time, the Soviet Union had joined the conflict and attacked the undefended Polish border from the east. The Red Army quickly advanced and cut off the retreat path south for the Polish forces. The Poles had no choice but to break through the Soviet or German lines to escape to the south. They chose...
Honestly, I would go with the Soviets. I don't know if I'm using a bit of hindsight, but the Soviets were much more poor quality soldiers than the Germans. I would honestly go with the Soviets because they haven't really, like, established their defense, like, well, not defensive, but they haven't really established their positions yet. But if I was in this situation, I would probably go with the Soviets because they probably wouldn't be expecting, like, a huge force to come and freaking break out like that. So
to attack the Germans, but they were unable to break through and surrendered. With that, most of the largest formations of the Polish army had been destroyed. Without any help from the outside, the Polish defenders in Warsaw surrendered to the Germans. By early October, the Soviets and the Germans had finished mopping up the remaining Polish forces and the campaign was over. So, why was Poland defeated only in a month? You can see from the campaign that the reasons the Poles hoped to win the war did not come into play. Poland gave up its defensive positions in order to be sure to get the help from Britain and France. But no one expected the Germans to advance so fast, and Britain and France were not ready to give Poland significant aid so early.
I don't know what the heck Britain and France were thinking at that point, but honestly, Poland, like, I don't know, dude, that's such a tough spot to be in for Poland because Poland, number one, is just too big to defend. Like, there's no way. Like, immediately when I saw, like, this video at the start, I was like, yeah, definitely, like huge breakthroughs are gonna happen. Like, and the lines are gonna collapse. I mean, I do believe that if they held at the river line, it would have made more sense because it was shorter. And not only that, but I mean, yes, you would abandon a lot of the country, but well, it's either that or you lose everything, which they did lose everything. But I can't really hold Poland too much for that because they weren't even fighting at full strength anyways. And the Allies literally promised Poland that they would, like do something and they didn't. Ahem. Looking at you, France. Britain didn't do nothing for Poland, even though they could have done something for Poland. Ugh. Like the way how the Allies treated Poland, it was like even after World War II ended and Poland was independent, it's like they just let Poland become a USSR puppet state. It's like you literally said that you would defend Poland. And you let Poland become a socialist puppet state of the USSR. It's like makes you wonder: did the Allies really care about Poland, or did they just simply use Poland as an excuse just to have a means to go to war with Germany that was rebuilding? You know extremely fast, frankly speaking. You know what I mean? Like, shaking my head, honestly. Poland should have honestly just allied with Germany when they had the chance and just give up Gdansk/Danzig. I believe that Poland would have benefited much more from that in the long run, but whatever.
So Poland could not utilize the foreign aid nor its defensive advantages. Meanwhile, the Germans could make full use of their stronger army and tank formations, and this resulted in quick Polish defeat. It is time to pay respects to the E.
So this is like 1939. I'm gonna be reacting to this whole playlist, frankly speaking. I'm reacting to a whole bunch of playlists right now. But anyways, look, man, you made it all the way to the end of the video. Make sure you subscribe if you are new to the channel. If you like what I have to say, make sure you like the video as well so that my videos stay on the YouTube algorithm. If you disagree with anything that I say, feel free to mention it. If you have any more details that you would like to provide, make sure you add it into the comments down below. You know what I mean, man. And if you have any suggestions that I would definitely love to react to, definitely do comment it because I'm currently going through all of my suggestions right now. I'm literally withholding all the videos that I want to react to personally because I'm reacting to everything people want me to react to at the moment. Even though I don't have to do that, but you know what? I'm a nice guy, so if you want to, if you have like a reaction that you would love for me to react to super quickly, you could send me a super thanks so that I can react to it much more faster. I've had like one person do that. Thank you, by the way, to that person. I definitely appreciate it considering that I'm a uh young broke kid, frankly speaking. But yeah, man, thank you for watching. Stay tuned. And once again, don't forget to subscribe if you're new. And goodbye.